like at the top of this video, I was the other woman. The hardest part of this video was literally listening to that voicemail.
Hope you're fucking happy, bro. I never liked you like that. You knew that. Or I would have fucking kept you on a fucking leash, bro. And now guess what? You're nothing, bro. You're nothing. Dog, don't ever fucking try to text me. Don't ever fucking try to call me. You knew that you were a fucking booty call, and you knew that from the beginning. So don't act fucking stupid, you fucking bitch. And that's what you're gonna do? That's what you're gonna do? Yeah, I never fucking loved you. I never wanted anything to be without you. So you better fucking lose my fucking number, lose my fucking identity. I fucking hate you, you fucking bitch.
Hey, Ivy, I was calling to see what you was doing in St. Alice. Call me back.
Hello, my gorgeous. I'm calling because I haven't talked to you in a little while, and honestly, I needed some advice. I needed some words of wisdom from my favorite show, my most beautiful forever show. Sorry, I'm like putting moisturizer on my face. But yo, bro, I had a bang. You know what bang is? It's an energy drink. So I got a lot of energy, and so we can totally hang out. I'll go to my parents' house first, real quick, and then, oh gosh, we can do whatever. But for real, I don't want to stay up too late. I need to like crash. I had a bang.
The voicemail that I played you at the beginning of this video is more of an example of what not to go back to. Don't, if someone talks to you derogatorily, hopes that you're happy about hurting them, don't go back to that person. Also, like with the other voicemails that I played for you guys, those are my friends and my family. There's no way in hell like this one person out of like the 3 other people that I just like played for you guys who are like being so happy to like even get to talk to me or like try and get a hold of me, you know, like that's something that was so black and white to me, like what we were doing, me and that guy, and how he was viewing me was not who I was, because there's so many other people out there in this world that know me genuinely, just not maybe as intimately as he did, but like they still thought I was awesome. I know I'm not the only one where you've been a side chick and you really didn't even know what that was until it happened to you. One time, it's happened to me one time, because that was enough. I had been seeing that guy for a year, off and on. We started off pretty well. We met on Tinder. We talked all right. He chased me for like 3 months. I would blow him off a lot, and finally went and saw him, and you know, like it was a fling. It was like a really long fling. In the middle of it, he was the first one to ever really break my heart, because I really cared for him. He broke my heart by blocking me out of nowhere. At the time, I didn't know that he was so unemotionally invested, really emotionally unbalanced. He didn't know how to process emotions. I never had his phone number until like the end of us being together. I had asked him if he wanted to meet my friends, like whatever, we had been seeing each other for about a few months at this time, and at that time I was still seeing other guys and stuff, so I was wanting to get on the same page with him. He said he wasn't talking to anybody. He said that he only talks to one person at a time, and he said that he doesn't want to have sex with anybody that he didn't have a connection with. It was all believable. To this day, I don't think that guy was a cheater. I don't think he was a bad guy. I think he was just growing up like, you know, I was. And it's been a year now. Towards the end, it really wasn't even a fling anymore. He had expressed to me that he should have been with me the whole time, and that he was going to show me that I could trust him and that he actually cared for me. He gave me a lot of promises that I really wanted. I don't think I was stupid in any part of it because I was just naive. And I never even like speculated him being with another girl because we never agreed to be together. He asked me to be his girlfriend and I told him no because we hadn't done anything but be inside his bedroom. He had invited me over like once. It's like a cookout and I got to meet a couple of his friends. Even then there was another girl he had invited and she said that he had enticed her to come over because he said there was a hot tub and you know, what does that sound like? You could say it's a whole sticky situation. So let me get to the part where I learned about him having a girlfriend. It was towards the last few months that we were like off and on. I went over to his place and I was like, what is going on with you? Because he was just not, he never had spoke to me, certainly not how, in that voicemail, how it sounded. He never spoke to me like that. Towards the end, he had asked me to come over and do a sexual favor for $5. And I still went over. I made him apologize. I tried making him take me on a date to show me that he valued me. He had never talked to me like that before. So whenever I went over, he said that he was trying to hold out for a girl that treats him like a piece of shit. And then I asked him, why does he still talk to me? Because at the time we still hadn't discussed like how he truly felt about me, if he was. Because I think looking back on it in hindsight, he was just using me to make her jealous, or would have done that. I was having visions of, you know, him and I being Facebook official, but then like I get blocked and all of a sudden I see that she has a ring on her finger. Like that, I was having fears like that towards the end of this all. Told me that he kept me around because I made him feel good. Side chick. I did not know. I was just naive and I'm sorry, you know, like that I even prolonged what we were doing because the girlfriend that he actually had a kid and he didn't know me. We didn't talk about what we really valued much. Like, I will not be in and out of a kid's life and I'm not gonna let him do the same or let me enable that behavior. I went ahead to tell him, like, I gave him my advice on his situation because I'm just a friend, and he told me that they were broken up. They were off and on again. So from what I gathered after everything went down is that whenever he would block me, he would be with her. Whenever he would unblock me, he would be single. I ended up telling the girlfriend once I put it all together. He blocked me to where I could still see his Facebook page, and I saw he was in a relationship. And he had told me about the girl that he was actually holding out for, and I saw that she had a kid. And so then after he unblocked me and I went over to his place, like, he still on his Facebook had that they were together, but I asked him before I went over there, like, are you not together? Like, this is on your Facebook. And he's like, oh no, that's done. I just don't know how to get it off of my Facebook page. I believed him. And I still went over there that last time with the thought of, you know, I'm either gonna cuss this guy out and leave, or we're gonna end up like pushing forward here, because this does not, like, he's not acting like how he got me. Like, he got me to even be involved with him just by talking to me and leaving the door open for me whenever I would come over. Like, I lived there. Like, he would always, like, he treated me kindly. So he was becoming pretty aggressive towards the end of us being together, because even during sex, like, there was times where he would, like, and some women are into this, don't get me wrong, but like, he would put like his hand on my head and like force me down there, and it wasn't like, there was pressure, but it wasn't like he was forcing me. So I'm not claiming that I got like assaulted or anything, but like, it was a little bit, it was like less loving. It was almost like business with him, and I didn't put it together. I I sent him a message because I could still send him messages on Facebook, and he just wouldn't get a notification or be able to read it, something like that. I just said, hey, I know who the other woman is, or at the time the main chick is. I see that she has a kid. I don't want you to be in and out of a kid's life. If you come back to me, this is gonna be our last try. I love you. And I said that like I love him because I had love for him. It wasn't because I was in love with him. He had already broken my heart a couple of times. We spoke a different language whenever it came to that. And so of course he unblocks me, and then I go see him, and he starts breaking down about how he lost his mom. So I saw him cry, and he was like, my mom would have loved you because you're fearless. And it was all just so sad. I just wanted him to be okay. I saw his potential, and I also saw that he was nutcase. Like, I'm crazy to an extent too, so I'm just like, I understood him. I just couldn't be with him. And he blocked me again after he had promised me that last time that he was going to show me that I could trust him. He blocked me again, and so then I told his girlfriend, in which, you know, assuming that they weren't together because they were on again, off again at the time, and I was naive, I thought that they weren't together. And so I thought he was just going back and forth with her and I sent her a message, and I was sitting next to one of my really good friends who has been cheated on. She was like, she encouraged me to tell the girlfriend because she was saying that she would only thank me for it later, just to let the dark come to light. And I was like, okay. And the only reason I really wouldn't have told her, that was making me think maybe I shouldn't, was because I didn't want to stir up anything. So I ended up like messaging the girlfriend on Facebook, and she called me immediately. And you know, the guy that I was involved with had told me that his ex was crazy, because she was always the ex to me up until this point. He told me that his ex was crazy, so that whenever he blocked me, he was trying to protect us. I was so naive. I was like, not okay with that, because he had given me his word that he wasn't going to block me anymore. He was going to show me that I could trust him, and he didn't. I told him that was my last try, and I don't know if he even saw that message. Evidently he didn't. I don't know. We never talked about it. I messaged the girlfriend, because apparently she was his girlfriend, not an ex, saying that I was done with him. After that, she called me and immediately, and then went straight over to his house. I didn't even know she was like right around the corner. She was like 5 minutes away from his place. I could hear her walk through the door to his room because he was rooming with somebody. She said to him, she says that she's done with you. And there was just silence. He didn't say anything. And then she got with me on the phone. I'm on speaker, and was like, tell him what you told me. Say your last words or something like that. And I was like, I played it off. I was like, I don't think he can hear me. And like, I left it at that. And then after that, her best friend and her contacted me again through Facebook, and she was asking for more information. I sent her screenshots of what him and I had talked about, and it wasn't much, you know, other than come over. And I was like, okay, I'll be there. And then my message of like, I love you. And her best friend was like, look, I don't think that my best friend is going to be able to leave. He's done this, and what he did to you, he did to her. He would leave her in the dark, blocking her and unblocking her, and you know, they're still together. I just don't think she's gonna have the strength to leave. So she's pretty badass. She was like, tell me where he works. And I was like, I don't even know that. And me and the girlfriend had talked. I told her everything I could. I just wanted to tell her. And she was like, there's no way that you didn't know. She thought that I knew. And I was like, nope, really didn't. I always thought that you were an ex. So it was sad. And she texts me from different numbers. It's been a year. and she has texted me about every 2 months from a different number saying that she's a John and she wants to know where I live, or he wants to know where I live, but I know it's her. So I guess that guy was right about the craziness there. But you know, with this whole story being said, guys, like, pay attention to the red flag. Like, from my story, it was hard. I didn't tell his girlfriend to hurt him. I did it to help him. I also believe that he didn't want to see better for himself. So I knew that me enabling him going between 2 women was only going to hurt him further in the long run. Even if he didn't truly want to choose me, if he really wanted to be with her, it wasn't really about that. It was more so about him growing as a person and me doing better for myself. But I did not do that to hurt that man. And still to this day, I don't even think that he was trying to be a cheater. Whenever I look back, I think this guy literally was confused. He did not start off like trying to cheat. He said that his ex always thought that he had cheated on her. I don't think he was. I think they were broken up and then they got back together, and then they broke up and they got back together. She had told me that they still would talk as if they didn't really break up, but they would be broken up. So she never really thought that they weren't together. And he just got mixed up and he didn't play the game right. And even after that voicemail that I played, that guy was just trying to hurt me. And he didn't really hurt me because I know my intentions were strongly to help him. You know, his girlfriend at the time, like, I hope it helps her too, but she's still texting and she hasn't let it go. I've grown so much since that happened. Yeah, so this is kind of like a long story time. Bits and pieces. It's still kind of hard for me to talk about, guys, but I'd rather put this out here now, and just say that not to do what I did. Not to be so naive that you still have to take ownership over the faults that you did, you know? And I take ownership over the fact that I probably was the other woman. I was probably letting him cheat. You know, I wasn't helping him being there. I wasn't helping him whenever I would go over to his place and be there for him whenever he was feeling lonely or sad or like a piece of shit. And he would claim it was because of her. I wasn't helping him. He needed to work on that with himself. And if I couldn't have been there, and if I was wiser at the time, I would have told him to deal with it on his own, because that was not my place to be there. Just be wise, you know, you guys. Try not to be so naive whenever you get involved with somebody. It's where I got a lot of practice in learning my own process with heartbreak. I didn't really have a doubt in my mind that I was all those things that he called me, like a bitch, a booty call, stupid. I knew I wasn't that. I think he really did care for me. But at the same time, he was so confused in himself, he couldn't really show me care. You know? So if you get yourself caught up in being a side chick and you don't know, that's just a lesson on loss, man. Or maybe you end up being the main chick, because that does happen. Like, I watched a lot of episodes on cheaters. That helped me cope a little bit with the hurt, and just knowing that, like, and being strong in my intention with the fact that I did not tell his girlfriend to hurt him. I did it to help him. And, you know, in turn, I learned a lot from it. So, yeah. With all that being said, guys, this was a really difficult video for me to put together. But I've been wanting to put this out there for a while to hopefully stop the madness before it gets too far, because it just fucking hurts, man, whenever you go through something like that. Yeah, with that being said, you guys, love yourselves. Don't be naive. Don't be ashamed. Learn lessons on losses, and you're gonna be okay. Peace.